Do you need to make an announcement? No. Okay, so this is the meeting of the Commission of City Plan, Tuesday, February 21st, 2003. This is a hybrid meeting. We do have a quorum, myself, Ella Miles and Kathy Wazika, three is a quorum. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve minutes from December 13th and January 17th.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion made in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so those minutes have been approved. Communications, I see none on the agenda. Do you have anything?
Nothing.
So no communications. Old business, I guess we'll just note that the application for the special 205 495 East Main Street, the request for a special permit to change from a non-conforming restaurant use to another non-conforming use for a hookah lounge has been withdrawn. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Did they give a reason? Just wondering.
Just a feeling that it
Oh,
wasn't gonna pass
Yeah.
and they're gonna move towards a restaurant
Okay,
site.
Makes more sense.
yeah, it does.
So under new business, we have a public hearing and potential action on the following application. It's a subdivision number 435 217 Atrabando Avenue. Request for a two-lot re-subdivision of commercial property occupied by an existing retail farm garden supply store and a self-storage rental facility property and application of Muller Real Estate LLC, Assessor's Map 66, Block 1, Lot 4, Zone BP. Dan, we need a public hearing on this, so we need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
I'll make that motion.
We have a
I'll
motion
second.
and second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so the motion is carried. We can go into a public hearing, and I guess, Dan, I would ask, do you want to make a presentation or you want to just have
Brandon's here to
the applicant do
the
that?
Are you gonna add anything into the record or no? Or do you do that afterwards?
just afterwards.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Yeah.
I did bring a board, and I'm sure the plans, I'm happy to set them up, but we're.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow along and kind of point to what you're pointing
Okay,
on the screen.
you want to put them right here so everyone can see without turning?
yeah,
or just like-
Ella, can you see what's on the screen that Dan has? Can you see?
Yes,
that?
I can see it.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to just put that up there.
Yeah, that way you don't have to turn around and I can point and see it, make your Dan can see it too. All right, for the record, Brandon Hanfield, civil engineer with Antique River in Lebanon, Connecticut. Here representing the owner and applicant, Muller Real Estate. Steve Muller is here with me, as well as Harland Hyde and Harland Hyde Jr. Who are the owners and operators of Hyde Home and Farm, which is one of the uses on the property. We're here for 217 Atrabando Avenue, which is a 2.8 acre site located on the northeast corner of Atrabando Avenue. To the north of the property or up or top left would be US Foods. To the right or to the east would be the railroad corridor. Below the property is an undeveloped piece here. And in terms of orientation, if you drive about a third of a mile north to the on-ramp onto Route 2. and
Recording in progress.
If you drive about 800 feet south, you'll get to Wawika Street.
Brandon, just excuse me for one
Sure.
second. I just want to note for the record that Michael Land is now here for the meeting also. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
Twice, he's on there twice.
There he is. All right, the property is again 2.8 acres located in the business park district. Currently, there are a series of buildings on the site. So the north corner would be the larger warehouse retail structure that's occupied by Hyde Home and Farm, formerly the Agway business. And on the south side of the site are 4 buildings kind of in a U shape that would be a self-storage associated with the storage yard. Currently owned and operated by Muller Real Estate. What we're here to propose is dividing the property into two parcels to separate the Hyde Home and Farm use from the self-storage use. So on the north side of the property, you'd have 1.49 or almost 1.5 acres associated with Hyde Home and Farm, and on the south side, you'd have 1.31 acres associated with the storage yard. Do the next sheet, just a little bit more detail, same exact color, same exact everything. So again, in orange are the existing buildings. The access to the site will remain the same, parking will remain the same, loading, everything will remain the same. This is strictly to separate the two uses and allow a separation of the Hyde Home Farm from the storage yard. All the buildings comply with zoning in terms of setbacks. Parking will not change in terms of the original plans that was developed. Really, there's no improvements other than dividing the two parcels into complying lots. There will be one easement required between the two properties as shown in magenta. That easement will parallel the line on the south side. It will be on lot 2 in favor of lot 1. It's 12 feet wide, and really what that is to provide the existing laneway that's behind or above the stone wall. So you can see there's a retaining wall behind storage unit number 1. And then above that is a fence and kind of a paved area that's associated and used as a laneway for Hyde Home and Farm. We're proposing to keep that common laneway. It's 13 feet wide to allow continued access through there. Again, no change physically to the property, just really a use and access and maintenance easement in favor of lot 1. And if you go a little further down the screen, bottom corner here, you'll see that the easement does turn in the southerly direction, and really the purpose of that is for access as well as the drainage discharge that currently exists for the Hyde Home and Farm building and site that drains into the stormwater basin near on the storage yard. So that will be a common easement to cover the drainage discharge, the access to it, and the maintenance of it. We did receive comments from the city, really nothing of major consequence, except for the zoning official provided 2 comments with regards to the existing retaining walls and material storage walls that are on the site. So I think I can probably explain it. So I'll go through the comments real quick. Number 1, the shed has been relocated. So if this subdivision were to be, or re-subdivision were to be approved, the updated survey would show where the shed was relocated to and show that it is complying. Numbers 2 and 3 are in regard to encroachments with material storage bins and large concrete block walls. So one of them encroaches slightly into the city right of way on the northwest corner. There you go. So you can see the back of the storage bins slightly encroach into the city right of way beyond the green line. So that wall will be moved to the east outside of the city right of way if as a condition of approval, if agreeable to the commission. The second comment is related to the larger concrete bin block walls right above the 25.8 dimension. You can see the back of those walls just encroach over the proposed property line. The reason that property line is there to ensure we have proper setback to the building. So, and those blocks are really intended for material storage through the early spring through the late fall. So landscaping materials that get deliveries in large trucks, and the intent of them is the trucks can pull into the site, back up, they could fit entirely within the bin, dump within the bin, and then exit through the site. The request is to move the back wall of those bins to the north and get it off of the lot 2 property. And what we're proposing and hoping the commission agrees with is that the easement we're proposing will cover that use in the location of those walls. So we can be specific with the language that the block walls themselves are part of the use of the Hyde Home and Farm. They can be moved, they can't be moved easily, and we want to keep the access they have to them without further restricting the truck turning movement. So that's the reason we don't want to move those walls. We are willing to move the walls out of the city right away. That's no problem. But in terms of the common use easement, we're hoping to language within that easement can cover what's happening there.
Those are really high, right?
I say 3 to 4 blocks.
There's 3 blocks high, 2-foot block, it's about 6 feet high.
6 feet.
And just for the record, Steve Muller. The owner.
I'm the one
Well-
who put them there.
Yeah, I just, so that doesn't constitute building or structure or anything like that. It's just a retaining wall, but when it's over what height is it considered a building?
I don't think it's.
Right, there's a-
It's really just a retainer bin.
Structure.
Yeah, it's just a retainer bin for a storage pile, so.
They're movable, so they're really not buildings.
Yes, there is, as movable as 6,000 pounds of block can be.
Okay.
So they can be moved, but.
But it is like a retaining wall.
Yeah, it keeps the material in,
Yeah.
it allows the machines to pick up the material efficiently without it broadcasting.
Oh, you're proposing language in the easement to allow the bins to go over into the easement area.
Yeah, that would be better for, I think, the operation as well as the owner, and they're both here, so it's.
70 to 80 yards of mulch. And so it is significant to move, and my fear is, as they back in, moving that 6 feet puts that just truck into an area where the traffic is coming in and out, and, I feel having it set back to where it is now is just a little bit safer when the trucks are backing up. It's kind of my take on it. For the record, I'm Harlan Hyde Jr., the managing member of Heights Home and Farm.
So there's really, they're not buildings.
They're not buildings,
Or structures, but
they're big,
The-
they're big blocks.
They don't require side yard or setback requirements. Structures, because they're not permanent structures.
did the building inspector comment on that by any chance?
You didn't get any comments from Dan, did you?
He had no comments. He
Okay,
did- he
as
did-
long as he had no comment, then I don't.
Yeah.
And Richard Schuck, the CEO, his comment said they'd like them moved. But it wasn't a zone, once moved, it wasn't a zoning compliance issue, so. By saying that, he's indicating the walls themselves are not a structure. Because he only wanted them moved out of the right of way, he didn't want them moved past the setback line. And he actually said that specifically. May be located within setback, so he's acknowledging that the walls aren't structures in his review.
Okay. Right.
That's it. We agree with all the comments and conditions that were provided to us, and the only one exception to that was we would prefer to leave those bins in place, and as such, not have to comply with comment number 3 on Mr. Schuck's letter.
Okay.
Wait, and number 3 is to move it.
To move
Okay,
this
okay.
one. We are
right.
moving this one, not this one.
That one. Yep, okay.
Everything else is pretty minor, and I think the revised set that we submitted addresses everything except for that one comment.
Yeah, the ones we're willing to move, that was.
They're 4,000 pound blocks.
They're smaller blocks for one, and we honestly thought those were on the right line, and they're on the city line, so well, obviously we'll move when we
Yeah,
get it, so,
The right of way is the old road, Roger Bando used to be 30 years ago,
Yeah.
right, so.
it's one of those things you think you're right till the surveyors come in and, oh, look at that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions at this point?
Can I ask if you already have copies of the easements or you're gonna be drawing those easements?
As one of the conditions of approval, if there is a condition, is that we would draft the language of the easement as well as the description of the easement and submit that to the city attorney for review and comment
Okay,
prior to filing Mylars.
okay.
Any other questions? Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Anybody else? No? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? Hearing none, is there anything else we need to do before we close the public hearing?
I would just note that all the comments from Deanna's memo have been addressed. Brandon submitted a revised plan set and a list of comment responses.
Okay,
Just ask that the bullet points from the memo be added to any
any
resolution.
resolution?
And just want to make sure the certificate of mailing was received.
Yes, we did get those.
Okay,
yes.
just wanted that for the record, we did notify abutters and
Yeah.
across the street, just to be safe, and those went out, so
Correct.
just making sure. Yes.
Okay, so,
And I just asked that I'll provide the exhibit list to the clerk. for
Okay.
The minutes prep.
so, that being said, can we, then, have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the public hearing is closed. And does the commission won't have any discussion of the application at this point prior to any other motions?
Just a quick question, pins and monuments, are they installed? Is it gonna be,
All mentioned in the memo and will be.
have to be installed before the plans are endorsed?
Correct.
Okay. And there's no dedication of land or anything like that, okay?
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, anybody want to make a motion in connection with the application?
I'll make a motion to approve it with 3 modifications. One, that the bins along this town right of way be moved. And that the bins that it on the side, what is it, the east side, is it? What side is it, Dan?
East.
Southeast side, that an easement be granted to the owner or the applicant. And that the easement be prepared and reviewed by the town attorney, and that each of the 2 owners of properties have to find the easement acceptable. And then that pins and monuments be installed prior to endorsement of the plan.
The other
Was that it?
notes in Deanna's memo.
Yeah, oh, then all the notes in Deanna's memo.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the motion. Can we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Kathy, second by Ella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, so the motion carries. The application is approved with the conditions as stated. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You're all.
And so there's money in there? Yeah, I tried to go down. I was gonna show you things about.
Sure.
My back, thank you. I just do.
Okay, so the next matter is a referral from the Norwich City Council regarding an ordinance appropriating $2.5 million for costs of design and construction of a lead copper service line replacement program in the city of Norwich, authorizing the issuance of $2.5 million revenue bond of the city secured solely by water revenue to meet said appropriation, and authorizing the city and Department of Public Utilities to enter into grant and loan agreements and a joint resolution with the state of Connecticut with respect thereto, excuse me. Dan?
We do have Chris LaRose and Larry Sullivan on Zoom. If we have any questions for them.
This is a requirement by the state to do this work, I'm assuming. Yeah,
Chris, Larry?
Yes, it's required by DPH. It's actually phase 1. By October 16th of 2024, we have to submit a plan to DPH to replace every lead or galvanized service in the city. We have about 5,000 unknown services on the customer side of the property. This is initial phase 1 money that DPH brought forth to NPU to get a jump start on removing the first about 100 and maybe 100 services, depending on the section of the city we go looking at. So we have about 1,000 knowns that are lead services on the customer side. This would be like a jump starter on that start of the replacement program.
Okay.
Okay, so, so this isn't to replace the city's pipes. These are the service pipes from the street into the.
Yeah.
Customers?
Yeah, we have 10,000 services in the city. We know there's 7 services that the city owns, which is from the main to the property line. We can get those, we'll get those replaced at any point in time. It's really the customer side of the service, which is the property line up to the meter. There's a lot of these services are 100 years old, and the record keeping 50, 60, 70 years ago wasn't the best. We have a lot of what they call unknowns. So the lead services we do know about, DPH gave us money to get a jump start in replacing that section. And we also, we'll be going throughout the city, investigating all the unknowns to get a plan together by the end of 2024.
Okay, so is there any cost to the customer?
None.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Dale,
This is a unique program, and it's not something that they've ever funded before. And this is because of the issues in Flint, Michigan, where they're trying to get all the lead out of the pipe in all the United States. By jumping in early, we have a much better opportunity of getting substantial grants to help out. If we wait till the end of this program to apply for the money, there may be no grant money left.
okay.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, makes sense. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, does anybody want to make a motion in connection with this referral?
I'll make that motion
Or a,
for a positive response to the referral.
okay, so Ella's making a motion to refer this ordinance to the city for approval. Anybody want to second the motion?
All right, I'll second.
Motion by Ella, second by Michael. Any other discussion?
Should we put something in there?
I would
That's too
say that
wide.
it's in accordance with the
Accordance.
POCD, and it's just really
A
a
smart thing to
no-brainer
do.
idea.
Yeah, it's a smart
But
thing
I
to
won't
do.
put that apart.
No, but we say it's something we should do. It's response, we're being responsible for this, and if we can get the loans and the grants and loans, that's even more appropriate.
Okay, so we have the motion with the reasons therefore, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So the motion for a positive referral to the city passes. Okay, next matter is community rating system annual progress implementation.
So just
The credited plan.
update, we have the CRS activity 510 annual progress report. We submitted it a few weeks ago. We were certified. We found out early this week, late last week. So we're good. I gave you a print, well, people that are here. And it was provided. There's a table. Give me a second to open it up. So a few highlights here. Number one, identify rock outcrops and steep slopes with additional natural resource potential and prioritize for conservation efforts. We need to get working on that. Number three, consider additional regulations and design standards for development of properties with slopes greater than 15%. We haven't taken action on that yet. Number six, eliminate basement of the Yantic Fire Engine Company, number one building. We haven't taken any action on that.
I gotta say for the record that that building isn't owned by the city.
Right.
So
There's some recommendations. in
that's a
here
privately owned building.
Right, and then we have Occam. It's the same thing, although we've been told there may be some work underway to certify that that's not at a flooding elevation
I don't
in
know.
that building. And then dry flood proof, the utility room at Public Works. No action has been taken in the last year. If anyone has any questions on anything on the table. Or any recommendations. We can open it up to discussion. It's just a report, we have a 5-year certification coming up, that's more in detail.
Anybody have any questions regarding the rating system?
No.
I have a quick question. So for like the privately owned buildings, do we need to indicate that those are privately owned?
I think we should, they're part of the city's emergency management operations, so that's why they kind of have.
I understand why it's there, but I just want to note, just as a member of the Yannick Fire Department, that that's a privately owned building, so. But any other questions? No, we don't have to take any action. on
Nope,
this.
just a
It's just
informational update
informational.
for you.
And do you provide this to the state, a copy of this to the state?
Yeah, we send a whole packet in and we just got word that it's all certified, we're good.
Oh, good, very good. All right.
All right, do we have any kind of staff report then, Dan?
The only thing is the next P O C D meeting in a few weeks, we're gonna have a presentation from. It's an acronym. It's about transit oriented development and zoning related to that, so they're gonna come present to the group. It'd be good if a number of CCP members could attend. Either in person or via Zoom. I believe that's March
Like
8th,
the POCD meeting.
yes,
What, do you know the date on that?
I think it's March 8th.
March 8th?
I will not be in attendance.
All right, anybody else have any matters to take up with the commission at this time?
No.
No. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks, everybody, for participating, and what's the date of the next meeting? Do you know, Dan?
I think it's the 21st of March.
March 21st.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.